Can you tell everybody where are you just now?
In hospital.
What's the hospital called?
Children's Hospital.
Can you tell me why have you come to hospital?
They put him. They carried out the operation, put it on my spine, and it took away all the tightness.
Can you tell me the name of the operation?
SDR.
SDR.
What made you decide to opt for an SDR for your child?
Well, it was a long process. We were aware of this surgery was available in different parts of the world. However, we were very aware that it was very specific to the child. We wanted to explore whether our child was a suitable candidate, and as he was growing, as he was, his kind of motor skills were becoming more evident, we were aware that he was constantly fighting against the high levels of spasticity in his body, and as a family we were managing that and keeping on top of it. However, it was a constant challenge, a constant concern for us. So after much research and after discussion with our paediatrician, we were referred to the Children's Hospital. A decision was made to send him to Gate Laboratory for further research until a final decision was made. As we were going through this process, we were informed that a service was going to be introduced in Scotland, which was really exciting, and we were really delighted because our initial conversations were that our son would travel down to London if he was eligible. So to have that news that there was going to be a Scotland facility was just really fantastic.
Can I ask a little bit about how you've prepared your child for coming in for surgery?
Well, Michael is well used to numerous appointments and going and meeting different health professionals, and he has coped very well with that. However, the volume of appointments was increasing. He was coming to hospital for MRI scans where he was needing a general anaesthetic, so things were changing slightly. So we started to prepare him by talking to him regularly about why he was going and asking how he was feeling and making sure that he was aware of what was happening. Us as a family, we talked about it with his brother and sister. We talked about him being offered this chance of surgery, and we made up as a family just a social story, and we kind of read it to him fairly regularly. The older children discussed it with him. So he had an awareness of what was happening. It is challenging, there is absolutely no doubt about that. Although our son was constantly fighting against the spasticity, prior to this he was walking, albeit maybe not in the particular pattern that we would always have liked, but he was upright, he was moving. So we always had to prepare ourselves for our son taking a stage backwards before he would progress. Up until now, he's been a very resilient young boy. And in his own words, he said that the people in the hospital are here to help him walk even better. I think to have the 3-week inpatient facility is excellent. Our son had an operation on the Friday with a kind of 48-hour period of recovery, and by the Monday he was making efforts with assistance of physios to get him out of bed and get him up moving. So right away after the recovery, you're straight into that process of rehabilitation, which is challenging for him at his age. So in terms of him being able to be in hospital at this time and have access to physio twice daily, and without him having to be transported daily, and which would have impact on his energy levels, and as well we're able to access the excellent facilities in the hospital as part of his gaining strength. And I, as his mum and his dad, have been able to stay, which is fantastic, because he needs us there. We want to be there. So I feel from the whole point of view of a 3-week inpatient programme with a very structured approach, been led by Michael, is excellent, because the staff get to know Michael very, very well, then very, very quickly, and you build up that relationship with them as parents, and the child builds up the relationship because they get to know them, and they know their strengths and they know their areas to focus on.
And Michael's got quite a long journey ahead as regards his rehabilitation. He has the opportunity to gain strength over the next couple of years, which will help his walking. How do you feel about leaving the hospital?
Yes, it's a daunting process leaving after 3 weeks. However, it's only natural that it's the next stage, and for Michael to be in his home environment and gaining confidence, being around his house, being around his peers, being around his family. And he has a kind of programme outside of the house where he goes swimming, he goes to horse riding, he goes to soft play, and at times he has contributed, he's been part of a kind of race running in the frame football when it's working for him. To bring us back to having this service in Scotland where our son has met the criteria, and he's been extremely fortunate to benefit from that. We feel extremely grateful and very lucky.